This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. Bills and the Broncos. Denver wins this one in another OT game here. 33-30 final score. What a thrill this one was as well. Top 5 graded players that we had for the Denver Broncos. Offensive tackle Garrett Bowles at the top of their list with an 86.5. Edge rusher Nick Benito with an 86.2. Defensive tackle Malcolm Roach with an 80.1. Wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr. Shout out Ben Lindsay. Everything here at PFF, but betting analyst for what I'm about to say here, hitting a 100-1 bet with Marvin Mims for him to be the highest, to have the most receiving yards in this game, and also score a touchdown. Both of those things. Of course,
the dramatics of that touchdown too is unbelievable stuff.
Oh, he had it. I feel like people were trying to drum that one up too much. He had that touchdown. Anyways, shout out to Ben Lindsay for that one. Shout out to Marvin Mims Jr. as well, 79.4 overall offensive grade. And then cornerback Jaquan McMillan with a 79.2. Bo Nix in this game, unfortunately, the last he is going to play this season, an 80.1 overall grade. On Buffalo's side of things, tight end Dalton Kincaid with a 92.2 overall grade. Wide receiver Khalil Shakir with a 77.0. Offensive tackle Spencer Brown with a 74.8. Safety Cam Lewis a 72.9. Center Connor McGovern with a 72.6. Josh Allen a 73.8. We'll talk about Sean McDermott, who was fired this morning. We'll talk about him in a second. But before, let's talk about this game. Your staff that told the story in this one.
So you're going to get into the turnovers. That's the obvious part. The other part for me, and it just speaks to, once again, this Bills defense not having enough in these scenarios. If you want a reason that Denver could beat New England with Jarrett Stidham as their quarterback, it's their pass protection. They're the best pass blocking team in the league this season. They have the highest pass blocking grade. Garrett Bowles, you saw there, outstanding at left tackle once again. I'll get into him in a second. But the Bills did not have any sacks in this game. There were moments where Bo Nix was under pressure, but only 28% of his dropbacks, and he was able to escape the pocket and make plays outside the pocket anyway. Bills, no sacks, 57.9 pass rush grade, 28% pressure rate, 28% pass rush win rate as a team, and this is blitzing 46% of the time. They tried to get after Bo Nix, and it still did not work. Trevor, when they did not blitz, they had an 11% pass rush win rate as a team. It just doesn't get it done. You can't, I mean, look, against this Denver team, it's hard to rush the passer anyway, but they basically did not touch Bo Nix all day. And the one time they did, and he ended up suffering the injury, it was a designed run late in the game, actually in overtime. Bo Nix in a clean pocket was outstanding, as he's been in a clean pocket all year. 87.6 passing grade, 21 of 32, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 big-time throws. The Bills' defense, and they're not good enough in coverage to have this sort of lack of pass rush. They're just, once again, not good enough to get the job done. And I think that is a big reason that McDermott is gone. And a big reason in this game was that even when they did blitz, they just couldn't get any pressure. And when they sent 4, it was non-existent. When you watch the snaps the half of this game when Buffalo sent 4 up front, nothing. Completely stonewalled up front. This Denver offensive line, time and again, for as many flaws as they have in their offense, and they're at times inconsistent, this offensive line shows up every week. And my most impressive guy, I'll give it to the left tackle, Garrett Bowles, man. He does not get enough credit for being one of the elite left tackles in this league. 2 pressures allowed. I believe it was on 47 or 50 dropbacks that Bo Nix had. 91.3 run blocking grade as well. Denver didn't run the ball very often, but that's not because of Garrett Bowles. I'll tell you that right now. This offensive line is the reason that they could win a game with Jarrett Stidham. Maybe even 2. Who knows? One at a time here. But New England's pass rush, look, they've played 2 really bad offensive lines in their first 2 playoff games. This Denver unit's a whole different animal, and to me, it was the biggest reason that Bo Nix was able to have so much success once again in this game.
Yeah, I want to talk more about McDermott and sort of that lack of success in this game, but I want to devote a specific time to that. My stat that told the story, the Bills fumbles right? I mean, like that to me is completely the stat that told the story in this game, because when you look at the overall stats, we have Buffalo with a higher total net yards, 449 to 349. Obviously, a total higher average as well, 5.8 per play as opposed to 5.1. The time of possession in this game, overtime included, 40 minutes and 58 seconds for the Bills, 29 minutes and 18 seconds for the Broncos. The Bills had the higher offensive output in this game. The problem is that they had 5 fumbles. 3 of them were lost. 13 points off of those fumbles. It was a touchdown, a field goal, and a field goal. 2 of those fumbles, immediately in the field goal range. They fumbled the football, boom, Denver's immediately in a point where they're able to score points. And the other one, they were in range to score points, and they fumble it away. So you're in a situation where you could have easily just gotten 3 if you don't fumble it. So it's such a swing whenever you have these turnovers. And that, to me, told the entire story of this game. I thought Josh Allen, was he perfect? No, obviously. He had some of the fumbles in this game that were his fault. But Josh Allen was awesome in this game. Like, he had some really high highs in this game. He did what you would needed him to do to win. Now, he also did some things in this game of the reason why that they lost. I understand that. I'm trying to take the whole story into account. But what I'm saying is that Buffalo played extremely well. They just turned the ball over. Can't do it. You can't have, because what was the turnover battle ultimately? It was
5 to
1.
5 to 1.
5 to 1. They lost the turnover battle 5 to 1. You lose the turnover battle 2 to 1. Your chances of winning the game just take a massive hit. 5 to 1. It's a miracle they got to overtime.
Yep.
So that's just it's another incredibly frustrating game for the Buffalo Bills. And I can understand them wanting to change something. I want to dedicate specifically some time to what the Bills are going to be moving forward, but I want to recap this game entirely. Most impressive, I thought Dalton Kincaid was really impressive. They needed him to be, because the Buffalo Bills do not have a dynamic wide receiver at all whatsoever. They basically have to do everything through the tight end passing game if they want to be dynamic at all. So I thought that they really needed Dalton Kincaid, like they've needed him basically throughout the entire season. He was great. Led the Bills with 6 receptions on 6 targets, 83 receiving yards and a touchdown, 91.0 receiving grade, and also a 75.1 blocking grade. I thought he was pretty good as a blocker, specifically at the second level. Had some really nice blocks there as well. Most disappointing for me, though, Broncos run game. 10 total designed carries from running backs in this game. Now, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like it wasn't super efficient. McLaughlin had 4 carries for 21 yards, 5.3 yards per carry average. R.J. Harvey, 6 carries, 20 yards, get 3.3 yards per carry average, but that's okay. So the averages and the efficiency from the running game for the Broncos was okay. They just didn't do it a lot. Problem is, now Bo Nix isn't your quarterback anymore. So you've clearly been very reluctant to hand the ball to the running backs because you like it a lot better with it in Bo Nix's hand. Now you don't have him anymore. Now I'm really worried about this team.
Yep.
Because now this defense has to play at the level it did. It's been good this year, but they got to play at the level they were last year. They got to play like they're a top 3 defense in a lot of categories, and they haven't been quite that good this year. But if you don't play to that level, I don't think that you're beating the Patriots with Jarrett Stidham as your quarterback now. So, yeah, that's what's disappointing to me.
It's funny because for me, I think, and obviously Jarrett Stidham is the biggest mystery left in these playoffs, but I think to me the lack of a run game, an efficient run game, is a bigger concern to me than anything involving Stidham. Because I think Peyton's going to call a good game to keep Stidham kind of within himself, right? I don't think that's going to be an issue, and he's going to be protected. Their offensive line is just so good in pass protection, but they need to be able to balance it and run the football. You can't go in there and ask him to run to throw for 350 yards when you need to be able to control the pace of this game. The second it becomes about Stidham versus May, it's over. Drake May's probably going to win that battle. He's already beaten 2 really good defenses without even playing his A game in this postseason, and New England's defense is absolutely rolling. You have to find a way to keep this game within range and to run the football. If that means if J.K. Dobbins is coming back next week, cool, so be it. If that means R.J. Harvey's got to take on a bigger workload, so be it. But they do have to find a way to balance this offense out. And I think, again, I don't think Stidham's going to go in there and play horribly. But you can't also go out there and ask him to be Superman when he hasn't thrown a pass attempt in the regular season in 2 years.
Right.
The other thing with the Bills, I think you just saw all of the flaws that we've seen over the years show up in this game. Not enough help at receiver, right? Khalil Shakir, 7 catches, 75 yards. The rest of their receiving core in this game, which is Brandon Cooks and McCall Hardman, right? Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman. The rest of their wide receivers had 5 catches for 36 yards. I know they make up for it with the backs and the tight ends, but they just don't have a number 1 receiver. They don't. Khalil Shakir is even debatably a 2 on a really good offense, right? Maybe a 3. Situational football has been an issue for years and years with this team. And I know there's the record and the point differential, and look, they get to play the Jets and Dolphins twice a year and all. But so many big games over the years, close games, where situational football just kills this team, right? I think about, the fumble before the end of the half from Allen. What are we doing? To be honest, there's a debate about with 16 seconds and no timeouts whether they should even run a play there. And even if you do, somebody's got to be in his ear. Hey, we just can't have something stupid in our own territory. Later in the game, there's 2 different opportunities, right, to put this game away. Joe Brady calls a perfect tunnel screen to Khalil Shakir, right? That would have put him up 2 scores. He walks into the end zone because Denver had a 0 blitz on, and Allen spikes the throw, right? Right before the field goal that tied the game at the end of the 4th quarter. He had that throw, tough throw, admittedly, but he had that throw over the middle on the deep crosser to Dawson Knox, where he walks into the end zone if that's a foot and a half lower, right? It's just situational football, a lack of receiving threats, and at the end of the day, and they can point to their defense on this, even after he spiked the throw to Shakir, they're up 27-23 late in the game with a lead. And it feels like every single one of these playoff games that they lose, they have a lead in the 4th quarter. They can't hang on to it. They've just never in a postseason game been able to get a stop when they really needed it. Even last year against the Ravens when they won, they didn't get a stop. Mark Andrews dropped the ball, the 2-point conversion. He just dropped the ball. I mean, I completely get why the Bills are making this move with Sean McDermott. Because it's just these big games, they lose all of them for the same reason over and over and over. And it used to just be situationals and the lack of defense, which is still the case. And now you have a wide receiver problem because they've completely whiffed on Keon Coleman. They don't have a number 1 guy. We're out here throwing a Brandon Cooks on the biggest play of our season. It doesn't make sense. And I know that everyone's trying to make this game on an indictment on Josh Allen, and it was not his best game, right? He was really good certain stretches,
right? Yeah.
And then there were moments where he missed, and I would put 2 of the turnovers on him: the fumble before the half and the first interception as well. The second one is just, and also that's an interception, full speed. I'm in the boat that's in it.
I agree completely.
That's an interception. The Jaquan McMillan play.
I agree.
So I just. There's only so much you can ask Josh Allen to do. And he's been trying to overcome this for years, really since 2019 when they lost to the Chiefs. The Chiefs were just better than them. But really the last 6 years, they have just not been a good enough football team to make this whole run. And I don't think that's some indictment on Allen. Any given day, he's the best player in football.
Yeah.
And he wasn't his best in this game, but you're also asking him to be perfect week in and week out against Super Bowl caliber teams. It's not fair.
Yeah, Ben Solak had a tweet that since 2017, when Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane were hired as a duo in Buffalo, they've drafted 56 players. 2 have made the Pro Bowl.
Other than Allen, right?
Other than Allen.
I think it's
yes.
Allen, Cook, and Knox, I think it is.
Yes, are the other 2. Yeah, other than Allen, they've had 2 players that have been drafted over the last 56 total players that have made the Pro Bowl. Not great. I do agree with you. Now, I kind of liked. I've been a critic of McDermott, I think, for the last couple of seasons. I actually kind of liked how he ended this season. Obviously, I didn't love what happened in this final game, but I felt like he called a really good game plan against Trevor Lawrence. I thought he was really making do with, because you go back to them not being able to generate any pressure up front. I think that him and Brandon Beane obviously work together when it comes to who you bring on this team and who you draft, but there's only so much coach can do with the players that they have who they're trying to get pressure from. I think.
Well, sure. No, I mean, and that's their whole team. And when you look at in this spot, when you get into the postseason, you think about, and the list gets shorter the deeper you get in the playoffs, the guys we can rely on, right? When you look at the Rams in that game, at the end of the day, it was Matt Stafford, it was Puka Nacua, it was Devontae Adams. No one else was going to touch the football in overtime, and I get it, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at this Bills team, and in big spots, guys that they're relying on, right? Joey Bosa, Tre'Davious White, Brandon Cooks,
right? I know,
Keon Coleman,
I know,
Curtis Samuel.
That's what I'm saying. How much is McDermott at fault for that? I don't know what the exact percentage is because I don't know how much he's pounding the table for these guys. But what I was basically saying was I'm okay with change being made. I have no idea how McDermott's the only one who gets fired in this situation because I would have told you that Brandon Beane should have gotten fired first and then Sean McDermott. Like, if you were to fire one of them, I am floored that McDermott's the one who is gone. Outside of the fact that naturally general managers are closer to owners, right? Generally. So there's a little bit of politicking that probably could go on because the owners are ultimately the ones who are making the call here. And if you're closer with the owner, then you're probably going to have more of a soft spot for you. But that goes into this situation as well because Brandon Beane, I don't think, has done a good enough job at building this team around Josh Allen to make it what it needs to be to capitalize on how good he is as a quarterback. And the reaction after this loss was to get rid of McDermott and then not only keep Brandon Beane, you now promote him. He is now in charge of all organizational operations. He is the president of football operations right now, as well as the general manager. That's the part that I am so floored by, is that if you were going to make a change, to me it would have been Beane who leaves first, and instead you're just moving on from McDermott. So it might work out for them.
It only makes you wonder.
But that's kind of wild to me.
It makes you wonder what the dynamic was in the building with McDermott there. And like you mentioned, what percentage of it is McDermott, not calling the personnel shots, but how heavy-handed is he in it? Right, it makes you wonder what that dynamic is and what that relationship kind of always was. But my honest opinion, I just think with McDermott, I do think it's more of the on-field bit where you want my honest opinion on this?
No.
You probably don't, but you're getting it anyway. The 13-second game back in the 2021 playoffs.
Yes.
When that happened,
yeah,
I honestly felt like they were never going to win a Super Bowl with Sean McDermott as their head coach. I just you cannot. I
don't know if I agree with you because I don't feel like players have given up on him.
To me it goes back to that. That is such a backbreaker. 13 seconds. It's all you got to do is not give up back-to-back mini Hail Marys there the way that they did. 13 seconds. I think they would have won it all that year. I think they could
be good at all. I think good enough to win it all.
I mean, beating the Bengals and the Rams that year would have been tough, but I think they absolutely could have done it. I still think this organization is shaking that off. I really do.
Maybe.
And there's so many, because there's so many times in other games where you get this team in close games and against better teams and things and they just find ways not to win. And I know that's a lot of the history of the Buffalo Bills, but to me it goes back to that. I've always thought after that night, I did not think they could win a Super Bowl with McDermott as their head coach.
I'm not comfortable agreeing with you on that just because I'm not in the locker room. Like, if it's a situation where after that moment, the team then started to not believe in Sean McDermott, then obviously I think that's a situation where you have to be able to sort of like clean the perception of the locker room out and the message is getting stale and that he's not motivating players enough, It's sort of like a little bit of the Todd Bowles thing in Tampa Bay where it's like, okay, he's saying the same things, but very clearly it's not resonating with the players. They're not executing. They're not as focused. They're not as whatever. So if you get in a situation where the Buffalo Bills, it kind of depends on how much you want to call it. Because the Bills, I feel like, have been so painfully close over the last 5 years of their winning window that there's just like one or two plays every year that the ball just doesn't bounce their way or it's just out of reach or something. And you go, okay, are you unlucky or are you not executing? And a lot of times the truth is both, but determining what the percentage of both is very difficult because everybody wants to be really frustrated when it doesn't work out. But if it's unlucky, it's unlucky. Like some people in the chat are saying this, and I hear what they're saying. Like Sean McDermott didn't fumble the football twice in this game, 3 times in this game. Sean McDermott didn't do that. The players did. And his team still played good enough to where they outgained the Broncos in basically every single category, took this thing to overtime, basically had a chance to win it in the end even, with all of this mess. But then how long do you go on with it being like, we're so close? I don't know.
To me,
it's hard to answer is what I'm saying.
To me, it's
from our seat.
To me, it's 5 years, maybe 6, of this team, despite all their talent and despite their all-world quarterback. It's at least 5 years of this team being one of the worst situational football teams in the league. And that, to me, is where your head coach has to make the difference, right? You think about New England and Bill Belichick. You think about Kansas City and Andy Reid. And the reason that those runs were sustained as long as they were is because they were the best situational football teams in the NFL during those eras.
Sure.
The Bills have never once been that. They've never once been the best situational football team.
I don't think they're the worst in the league, but there's certainly, I think a couple of years ago, it felt like they weren't helping themselves in the margin. But that's the Tomlin thing too, right? I mean, like Tomlin they've been so slow to adapt to the modern game of being aggressive and going forward on fourth and taking chances in the red zone and 2-point conversions and even challenges, like challenge flag, like when to challenge, timeout management. Like that's been the Tomlin thing. It's like, okay, you're winning, but are you ever going to be great? Are you ever going to win a Super Bowl with this mindset? Maybe that's what they think with the Bills, and maybe that's what they think of McDermott. But I'm just very shocked that McDermott's gone and Bean is not only still there but gets promoted. So it'll be interesting to see which direction they go. There's already been talks of potentially Joe Brady being a head coaching of interest to them. Brian Daboll, right, who has coached Josh Allen before to a lot of success. He was there at the beginning when Josh Allen really started to turn things around. Davis Webb, who is the quarterbacks coach for the Denver Broncos. He's been talked about as maybe somebody who could jump up to head coach at some point in time, but him and Josh Allen are very good friends, and so is that a connection that ends up picking up a little bit of steam? We will see. But Broncos win this one, and they're advancing to the AFC Championship game where they will host the New England Patriots.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.